This initiative, it's not about artificial enhancement. It's about restoring and optimizing your natural capabilities, protecting your longevity, and ensuring you have the biological foundation required to sustain the fight.
Hegseth is portrayed as growing desperate for a symbolic victory even as U.S. Army losses mount against Iran, with critics suggesting he is searching for headline-grabbing fixes rather than addressing deeper strategic problems. In this narrative, Hegseth is shown begging for strong soldiers and devising a controversial way to test physical strength before war, raising questions about whether political optics are driving personnel policies more than sound military science. The U.S. Army is said to be preparing to test troops for testosterone deficiency, a move framed as tying hormone levels to combat effectiveness and sparking debate over medical ethics, readiness standards, and discrimination risks. After pushing female officers out of some top posts, Hegseth's new male focus plan is depicted as doubling down on a narrow concept of warrior masculinity, troubling many who argue that modern militaries need diverse leadership and broader definitions of strength. U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth has said the military will roll out new testing for what he calls testosterone deficiency among service members, explicitly tying hormone screening to his vision of tougher battlefield readiness. The U.S. military will begin implementing testosterone testing across its troops, weaving these checks into routine medical protocols rather than treating them as a niche or optional program on the side. Reports indicate that details of the Pentagon's move were laid out by Associated Press coverage on July 16, outlining how the screening will be introduced and monitored within the Armed Forces health system. Service members aged 30 and over will be screened annually as part of their standard medical evaluations, making hormone tests a recurring feature of Check UPS for older soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. Hegseth has stressed that any testosterone replacement therapy offered under the policy will be voluntary, available only to those who medically qualify and choose treatment, rather than mandated for all who test low. The policy is being framed as necessary to keep personnel strong, resilient, and capable, with officials arguing that addressing hormone-related issues can help ensure troops are physically and mentally ready for demanding combat environments. Pentagon officials have explicitly linked the move to demands for maximum psychological and mental readiness, suggesting that hormone balance is one element in sustaining focus, stamina, and stress resilience. The announcement arrived as other figures in the administration were promoting wider access to testosterone for men nationwide, aligning the military's messaging with a broader political push around male health and vitality. Critics say the official narrative blends established medical science with less supported claims about the benefits of testosterone, warning that this mix could encourage overprescription, misuse, or unrealistic expectations. Special operations forces, particularly Navy SEALs, have previously faced scrutiny over testosterone and other performance-related drugs, with investigations raising alarms about unregulated or covert use during intense selection and training. A 2022 SEAL recruit's death during training led to the discovery of testosterone in his possession, a tragic case that exposed more widespread drug use in the elite program than had been publicly acknowledged up to that point. The Pentagon has not specified which studies or research base underpin its new screening policy, leaving unanswered questions about the evidence used to justify routine hormone testing across sections of the force. It has also not clarified whether female troops will have parallel access to estrogen-related therapies or equivalent hormonal support, prompting debate about equality and bias in military medical policy. From a medical standpoint, testosterone levels in men naturally decline with age, and lower levels are often linked to symptoms such as reduced libido, mood shifts, fatigue, and weight gain. Experts have long debated how to diagnose testosterone-related problems, disagreeing over what counts as deficient, how symptoms should be weighed, and where to draw the line between normal aging and treatable disorder. The Pentagon's initiative comes as Health Secretary RFK Jr. pushes to make testosterone easier to prescribe nationally, reflecting a broader political interest in loosening access rules for hormone therapies beyond the military. Doctors are usually instructed to confirm low testosterone on 2 separate tests before starting any replacement therapy, in order to avoid treating temporary fluctuations or misdiagnosed conditions. Testing is complex because hormone levels fluctuate throughout the day, meaning single readings can be misleading and need careful interpretation in context. Accurate readings are typically taken in the morning after fasting, when hormone levels are more stable, to reduce variation and ensure a more reliable baseline for clinical decisions. Supporters argue that the new policy could help identify and treat underdiagnosed health issues in older troops, potentially improving overall well-being and readiness. Skeptics counter that without clear safeguards and transparent science, the The move risks turning hormone therapy into a politicized tool of masculinity rhetoric rather than a strictly evidence-based medical intervention.
At the Department of War, we have the most elite warriors on the face of the earth. Every single day, you are pushed to your absolute physical and mental limits to master the profession of arms. We demand your all, and you give it. But while we invest heavily in our weapon systems, platforms, and gear, our most decisive tactical advantage will always be the individual warfighter. We have a sacred duty to maintain that advantage, which is why we must constantly look for new ways to optimize your performance, your resilience, and your long-term health. And to meet that commitment today, I'm authorizing a new screening program for testosterone deficiency for our service members, ensuring you have the right testosterone levels to operate at your absolute best. Because it's well-established science that as we age, testosterone levels often naturally drop. Under the supervision of our world-class medical professionals, warfighters age 30 and older are going to be tested annually as part of their periodic health assessment. It's a health assessment that happens every year. We're just adding this test. Those under 30 can voluntarily choose to get the test as well. If treatment is recommended, it's entirely your choice to receive testosterone replacement therapy. This initiative, it's not about artificial enhancement. It's about restoring and optimizing your natural capabilities, protecting your longevity, and ensuring you have the biological foundation required to sustain the fight. We owe our warriors the absolute best medical care in the world, and this program delivers on that obligation. Taking care of your long-term health means ensuring you remain strong, resilient, and capable, not just for your next deployment, but for the rest of your life, so you can thrive long after you take off the uniform. As we know, the modern battlefield is brutal and unrelenting. It requires and demands maximum psychological and mental readiness. And by addressing these health markers early, we're keeping you on the leading edge of lethality and giving you the same level of support that you give this nation, the absolute best. Godspeed, keep going, and God bless.
As the US-Iran war reignites, the sheer scale of America's earlier military losses is back in the spotlight, forcing officials to confront the cost of the last campaign before fully committing to a new one. America's air campaign alone cost about $11.3 billion in the first 6 days, rising to roughly $16.5 billion by day 12, reflecting how quickly high-end munitions and assets were consumed. Those figures were compiled and revealed by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, putting hard numbers to what had largely been abstract talk of expensive strikes. According to the Pentagon, the total direct cost of the 40-day war came to around $25 billion, covering aircraft operations, missiles, interceptors, and supporting systems. Independent assessments, however, have suggested the real economic and replacement cost may be closer to $100 billion, once lost hardware and longer-term replenishment are fully accounted for. From extended-range JSSM-E hours to Patriot interceptors and beyond, the U.S. burned through an array of weapon stockpiles, leaving planners facing a multi-year inventory crisis in some of the most vital systems. The JSSM-ER is an air-launched cruise missile designed to strike high-value targets from long range while keeping U.S. aircraft outside dense enemy air defenses. It has a range of more than 900 kilometers, allowing jets to hit deep inside Iran or other theaters without crossing heavily defended airspace. Before the war ramped up in late February, the U.S. inventory stood at roughly 2,300 JSSM-ER missiles, a stock meant to cover both Indo-Pacific and Middle Eastern contingencies. In just 1 month of fighting against Iran, the U.S. used about 1,100 JSSM-E hours, effectively burning through nearly half of its existing supply in a single theater. Those JSSM-ER strikes alone accounted for roughly $1.21 billion in munitions cost, highlighting how expensive sustained high-end air campaigns can be. By the end of March, stocks originally earmarked for the Pacific were being repositioned to CENTCOM bases and RAF Fairford, showing how the Iran war began to drain resources from other regions. The BGM-109 Tomahawk land attack missile is one of the oldest and most proven strike weapons in the U.S. Navy's inventory, still central to long-range precision attacks from sea. Tomahawks can be launched from both surface ships and submarines, giving commanders flexible options to hit hardened or distant targets. They are capable of loitering and retargeting mid-flight, with a range of over 1,500 kilometers, making them ideal for complex target sets in Iran. Before the Iran War, America possessed around 3,200 Tomahawk missiles across its fleets. During the first month of the conflict, the U.S. fired about 850 Tomahawks, a massive expenditure in such a short time span. By the end of the 40 days, more than 1,000 Tomahawks had been used, with a total cost estimated at around $1.9 billion. Yet the Pentagon has only ordered about 190 new Tomahawks in 2026, indicating a slow pace of replenishment. The U.S. Navy has requested 785 Tomahawks in its FY 2027 budget, but deliveries are not expected until around 2030, leaving a multi-year gap. Each Tomahawk Block V costs approximately $1.87 million, which helps explain why the total missile bill alone reached roughly $1.9 billion during the war. The depletion of U.S. interceptors may carry severe long-term strategic consequences, as these are the very systems that protect bases, ships and allies from missile and drone attacks. Key interceptors include the Patriot PAC-3 MSE, THAAD and Standard missiles SM-3 and SM-6, all of which are vital for layered air and missile defense. The Patriot PAC-3 MSE interceptor was among the most heavily used in the Iran War, repeatedly tasked with shooting down incoming ballistic and cruise threats. Each Patriot missile costs about $4 million, and over 1,200 were fired during the conflict, representing billions of dollars in expended interceptors. The U.S. Army's FY 2027 budget requests 3,203 Patriot missiles, but those will not all be delivered until around 2029, leaving years of constrained capacity. Currently, only about 650 Patriots are produced each year, with roughly half going to Allied orders, further slowing U.S. stockpile recovery. Lockheed Martin plans to surge production to around 2,000 per year, but that ramp-up will still take time to fully materialize. THAAD batteries form the upper-tier component of U.S. missile defense and are considered among the most critical interceptors for high-altitude threats. Between about 52 and 81% of pre-war THAAD interceptors were used against Iran, leaving the system heavily drawn down. No new THAAD missiles have been delivered since August 2023, and fresh deliveries are not scheduled until April 2027, creating a long capability trough. The radar systems that form the backbone of THAAD batteries were also hit and destroyed in some cases, further eroding the network. One AN/TPY-2 radar, reportedly worth around $300 million, was destroyed by Iranian strikes, showcasing the vulnerability of these high-value assets. The combined cost of THAAD, SM-3 and SM-6 interceptors used in the war ran into hundreds of millions of dollars, adding yet another layer to the bill. U.S. War Secretary Pete Hegseth has acknowledged that replenishing these stocks will take months and years, signaling to allies that the repair job is long-term, not immediate. The U.S. is not expected to return to pre-war inventory levels for its most critical systems before at least 2028, leaving several years of relative scarcity. For many of these systems, the period between contract award and delivery ranges from about 34 to 39 months, meaning decisions today only pay off years down the line. Nevertheless, even with depleted stockpiles, the U.S. appears to have restarted its conflict with Iran, betting that existing assets and allied support will be enough in the short term. Iran has begun retaliating by striking U.S. assets, mainly in Bahrain and Kuwait, putting American bases and regional partners directly in the line of fire. Tehran has warned that U.S. strikes will not go unanswered, effectively putting Arab states hosting American forces on notice that they could be caught in the crossfire.